Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Amit?
I'm doing great, David. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Looking forward for this presentation. I'm tired. I've been dancing for 10 minutes. You've seen it in the slide before, right?
Yes. So, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Based on the time zone you are joining, I, along with David, welcomes you to this session of Prepare Exam Day for Q&A for DP-700, and we will take you through how to prepare for this exam day, and we will tell you the exam format and many other things while we're going through this presentation. So let me go ahead. And my name is Amit Chand. I'm a data platform MVP, Power BI community super user. And in case you want to reach out to me, my LinkedIn link has been given here in the URL. I'm also a YouTuber with the same name. I have my channel, Amit Chandar. You can also reach out to me. Let's hear from the David now.
And I'm David Alsamendi, an independent data architect and data consultant based in Australia. Look, if you want to connect with any of us, go and reach out in the social networks.
Meet our moderators for the today. We have Martin and Vahid who are helping us out in the live chat. So if you have any questions, ask them at the end of this session. We are also going to take up few questions. Now let's look at this entire series. So we started this journey on the 5th Feb, and today on the 27th Feb, we are talking about prepare for the exam day. And these are already videos which have went live in the past. In case you missed out any of these videos, the recordings are available on the Microsoft Reactor channel. So please go ahead and watch that out. And in case you have any questions, you can reach out to some of us on either on the LinkedIn or on the video comments. And how many of you are planning to join the Fabric conference? The Microsoft Fabric conference is happening at Las Vegas from 31st March to 2nd April 2025. I'm planning to join that and we'll be seeing some of you there. David, what's your plan?
Unfortunately, I'm going to be missing it this year, but I have a lot of friends and colleagues that are going to be flying to the US to attend the conference. I'm sure I'm going to miss a lot of fun.
Okay, and in case you need a discount coupon, the code has been given here, and you can use that code to get the discount coupon for registering for this particular event. It's a very, very good event. I have attended it last year, and I cannot wait to attend it this year. You will get a lot of knowledge about Fabric. You will meet a lot of people who has expertise on Fabric, who are implementing Fabric, a lot of customer who came with a lot of questions, which you can also face in future. So it's a really good opportunity to network and learn about Microsoft Fabric. So my advice would be, in case you are nearby place, just plan to attend Microsoft Fabric Community Conference from 31st March to 2nd April. With that, let's discuss about a challenge, and David is going to talk about that.
Yeah, look, this has started already. It's a Power BI challenge for visualizations. We are already in the second week of the challenge, but I do encourage everybody, go and have a look at the link, and you'll be able to see some of the most amazing reports people from the community are creating. And hey, it's never late. You can still join the challenge and be part of the second week of the challenge, which is about travel. I mean, this week is about traveling, actually.
Yes, so we are continuing this 4 week challenge. It ends every Friday and we will have it for 4 weeks. And so you can continue to, look for this challenge. And I have a question for David here. David, people like me who know a lot of DAX and Power Query, but not very great at visualization. Do you have any tips for us? How can we create great visualizations?
Yeah, look, this is my recommendation. Always, aside or of capturing business requirements and creating a storytelling report, look, there is so much content available right now out there that you can get ideas from. And I always suggest start with a proof of concept, something small. You can do that in Canva. You can do that in Figma. Choose different tools for designing reports, and then you can take that idea to Power BI. Everything starts from a concept. Once that you create the first report that is visually great, then you just leverage the same idea. You change it a little bit here and there. But that's what I do, to be honest. I started with a good report, and then I made a few changes every time I work in a different business concept.
Yep, that's great. So what I'm going to so what you can also do is, if you, in case you need some data sets, you can use the Microsoft's data set. Otherwise, I think there are open sites where the data sets is available if you are not able to find some data sets. So, and you can ask for the link in the chat, and moderators or we will be supplying it a little later in case you are looking for data set. But David is going to talk about how can you
Yeah.
get discount.
If you made it this far in our series, don't forget to get your 50% discount for passing the DP-700 exam. Amit, have you done the exam already?
I'm preparing for it, David.
Okay, go for it. I'm sure you're going to pass. I did it 3 or 4 months ago. I can tell you it's challenging, but if you put effort in, I'm sure you're going to pass.
Yeah, the beta was not available in India, so we have to wait, and now it's there, and I'm planning for a date, and then I'm going to give this exam very soon, and I'm looking forward for lots of things coming out of this series which will help us to pass out that exam. Okay, so all of those who have joined the live chat, time for you to say hi in the chat window and interact with us. We have the moderators who will answer your questions, and at the end of this session, me and David will also try to take few of your questions. So let's open this for the David.
All right, how to prepare for the exam. The good thing about today's tips and tricks that we're going to share with you is that many of those tips and tricks, they do apply to other Microsoft exams because the platform is quite similar. But do we have an agenda for today, or we just free flowing through the summit? Do we have an agenda that we can follow?
Yes, we have the agenda. And so the agenda is, why should one get certified? Means why should somebody want to take DP-700? Then how to prepare it? Then we will also talk about the exam format, and then the tips and tricks for the exam day, followed by Q&A at the end. One must also remember that DP-203, which was on Azure on the similar concepts, is retiring on 31st March. And DP-700, which is on Microsoft Fabric, data engineering is going to take place of this new exam. So be ready for DP-700, and in case you plan to renew DP-203, time for you to look forward for DP-700, not for DP-203.
Why?
So David, why should we get certified?
Why should you, right? Okay, look, I always share. Let's go and share a few metrics that are available that are fundamentals and concepts of getting certified. But I will mention, look, getting a certification it's like a checkpoint, right? You're trying to validate the knowledge that you have acquired on a specific tool platform, and in this case, about data engineering with Microsoft Fabric. It's about getting that validation, saying, okay, cool. All the things that I know, actually, they do align with Microsoft best practices, recommendations, guidelines, and the way that we should be using the tool, right? Now, getting the certification also is going to support you to start using that knowledge and gain experience. As you know, experience and knowledge, they go together. So that's how you're going to become a successful data professional. Now, a few, let's say, treats for you, right? Okay, so you'll be able to get hired faster. You'll be able to get rewarded, feel satisfied. It's an achievement. You can share that in the social networks, add that to your resume, trying to go for a different role. Maybe you were doing something different, and now that you have acquired a certification, you can go and have a chat with your manager and maybe try to get a new position. And of course, I know that we're talking about Power BI, and we cannot talk about Power BI and Microsoft Fabric without talking about numbers. So in the next slide, you will see actually that people do get hired faster. They get promoted. They get the salary increased. So you can see here metrics, KPIs that justify you getting a certification. I'll tell you, my personal experience with certifications has been the following one. I study, I go get the certification, then I make sure that I get the experience, that I get to practice what I learned while studying for that certification. Get experience, If you don't have the opportunity in your current position, spend a little bit of your free time, It's going to pay off. And once that you have the experience plus the certification, you'll be able to, get salary increase, get a new position, get hired faster, and be recognized as a data engineer with Microsoft Fabric as part of the DP-700 exam. What about you, Amit? Do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah,
How has been your experience actually?
I think as a hiring manager, if you ask me, I always feel if the person is certified, the resume is easy to pick up. So if you are one looking for a job and there is a certification on your resume, it will easily get picked up. So what happens? We get those thousands of resumes, and we need a filtering. And in that filtering, if you are a certified, especially like DP 600 or 700, there are a lot of chances that your resume is going to pick up because this is the technologies which people are looking for right now. Microsoft Fabric has been adopted by many customers, and there is a natural upgrade happening for the Power BI customer to Microsoft Fabric. And there is a definitely skill set shortage because Microsoft Fabric is a very big ecosystem. So those who are coming from Azure world have idea about quite a few things. But if you are one like only from Power BI world, then definitely we are looking here for some skill shortage, and that is where is going to benefit all of you who are preparing for this exam, that or doing this exam, that your resume will get higher visibility. It is going to be easily picked up. And because there is a shortage, because people are migrating to larger data engineering, and the reason for this larger data engineering is not only going from Power BI to Microsoft Fabric or from Azure data ecosystem to Microsoft Fabric ecosystem. We have this bigger wave of AI. And we talk about this, that bad data means bad AI. And similarly, we used to talk about garbage in, garbage out in business intelligence and data analytics world. So we need the high quality data. And who's going to bring this high quality data, which is coming at speed, which is high in volume? So we have volume, velocity, everything. So Microsoft Fabric can bring in these kind of data, which is near real time, which is maybe every 10 minutes, every 1 hour, every day, every month. All those type of data can bring, whether it's IoT device or whether it is the your OLTP or OLTP system, your ERP, CRM. We can bring all those using Microsoft Fabric. 46% of the business are recruiting for the roles of data skills, and struggle have all past 2 years. And this is true because I know I am hiring for almost 5 years now for data business intelligence and data analytics. There is always a need. There is no single day when we are not looking for a data analytics professional. And if you are a data professional, specifically covering everything what we have in Microsoft Fabric, your salary scales are going to be significantly higher than compared to only on a particular area. So you could be only a Power BI developer, you could only be an ETL developer, you can only be a real-time analytics developer, you can only be a developer who's developing ETL in PySpark or Scala, versus someone who's developing an SQL, or only one who's working with data factory, which include data pipelines and data flow gen 2. So this is a complete ecosystem for data analytics, and upskilling to Microsoft Fabric and getting a certification like DP 600 definitely will help you. And the shortage of the skill in the market is also going to help you out in getting quicker jobs or better role in your own organization. So some of you who has joined this for very first time and might not have attended our previous sessions might have a question, what Microsoft is bringing to us, Microsoft Fabric is bringing to us, and why it is getting so much of attention of Microsoft Fabric. What is this platform, and what are the technologies which are coming in here, which we are talking about, and which will help everybody to get to the next level. So let's just talk about the definition of Microsoft Fabric, and then I'm going to take you through one slide where we'll explain you what all components we have in Microsoft Fabric. So Microsoft Fabric was launched as a public preview in May 2023, and it became generally available in November 2023. Microsoft Fabric is an end-to-end data analytics platform that brings together data preparation, data warehousing, data engineering, data science, real-time analytics, and business intelligence under one unified SaaS foundation and one copy of data stored in one lake. So are we not having the similar things previously available? Why we are talking about a unified platform? What is that it is additionally giving us which is not available? So like in today's world, if I need like data factory, I have Azure data factory. I need warehouses. I can go for Synapse. I can go for Cosmos DB. For a smaller purpose, even I can use Azure SQL. Then if I need a data science or maybe data engineering, I have lake houses. I can create Delta Lake in Azure. I can use notebooks, Spark notebooks in Azure using Databricks. If I need SQL databases, I have Azure SQL. For real time, we have Kusto. Power BI definitely is available. We have real time alerting. So what is that Microsoft Fabric is so unique, the unified platform, what it is bringing to us, which is not available with us right now. So we have to understand that this is not a kit. Microsoft is not giving us a kit. It's a unified ecosystem with unified architecture and unified experience. When you are in Microsoft Fabric, you will not feel that these are different tools, just like when you are doing it on Azure. So in Azure, if I go to Data Factory, or maybe I go to Synapse, or maybe I go to some other tool, maybe there are third-party tools also available. I may feel they are not from the same ecosystem. I may have a different experience. But in Microsoft Fabric, everything is unified under one architecture. Everything has been ground up to work together and look in a similar experience. So when we talk about all these workloads, all of them will save their data on something known as one lake. This is the single virtualized storage for your entire tenant. Even across regions, it will virtualize it to look like, it's a single storage. Yes, there could be chances when you have requirement that, in that particular region, I want to save it on a particular workspace or a particular region. Then at the workspace level, we do have a control where you can keep it in a particular region, but it will look like a virtualized one lake. So we have one storage. Then comes the common compute. Now all these workload can use one common compute to run all of them. If you want more than one, yes, you can do that. And we have the again control available at the workspace level. Now, what is that, making it so unique? And that one more thing is there basically, and when we talk about one copy, entire structured data, whether you are using lake houses, which is there for both structured and unstructured data, for structured data, whether you use warehouse, which is only for structured data and can read and write using T-SQL, or whether you're saving it using data factory, which is include data flow gen 2 or data pipeline, copy job, or copy activity, or you want to use copy job, everything which you are saving is going to be saved in Delta Parquet for structured data. What does it means is that in case I saved something on Lakehouse and I want to use it on Warehouse, I doesn't need another copy of data. I can continue to use that same copy of data in my other experiences, which avoids unnecessary copy in the data engineering. So this is just a brief overview what you can do on Microsoft Fabric. We have lots of video on Microsoft Reactor for that, and from individual MVPs, you can go ahead and look at that and take advantage. But now, once you got the brief idea of what Microsoft Fabric, for some of you who are joining us for first time, please go ahead and watch the other videos of the series where we have discussed DP-700 so to get the complete benefit. Let's move forward and let's talk about what is this Microsoft Certified Fabric Data Engineer certification. This exam is known as DP-700 and it's an intermediate level exam, and the role is for data engineering. What is the skills required for that? So you need to understand ingestion and transformation of data. What all things are bringing ingestion and transformation in Microsoft Fabric? We have data pipelines where we have copy data for ingestion. Data pipelines are not only for copy job, there are tons of other jobs, including calling notebooks, data flow gen 2, and all other activities which are available in Microsoft Fabric. Then for ingestion, we can also use data flow gen 2. Data flow gen 2 is a powerful tool. You can also use it for transformation of data. We have copy job for ingestion. If you are very well versed with Spark, you can also use Python or Scala for bringing in your data and transforming it. If you are a SQL expert, you can do the transformation using SQL. And typically, if you want to write using SQL, means read is always possible on a lakehouse as well as warehouse. If you want T-SQL, and when I say SQL means T-SQL, if you need T-SQL to write back, then you can use warehouse and you can use transformation using SQL. Then you want to secure and manage your analytics solution. For securing, you have the admin portal. You have certain controls at the Azure level also, like when you want to create the service principals. So you have certain permissions there. You have the Microsoft Fabric admin portal, which is very similar to Power BI admin portal, where you can manage and secure the services. So you have to go and look at each and every permission. Monitoring and optimizing your solution. So we have the Microsoft Fabric monitoring app where you can see how your data is getting utilized. Previously on the Power BI and now also on Microsoft Fabric, we have report users also, which you can help. And there are other tools which are available in Microsoft Fabric, which can help you in monitoring and optimizing. So all these things you have to learn. So technologies for you is SQL, PySquare, Gusto for real time, Power Query for transformation, DAX for creating your measures and calculations in Power BI level. So all these things are available, all these technologies are available, and you need to have a proficiency level of all these, because in DP-700, and David can add more to it, you might have questions around all these technologies. So David, we need to have expertise at all of these, or we can leave one of those technologies.
Look, you have to know a little bit about each technology, but if you have a lot of experience in one of them, that's going to allow you to cover a lot of ground in the exam. Remember, like we're going to talk about the score and so on, right? But you don't have to get all the answers right.
Okay, so now let's come to how to prepare, how we will prepare for it. So we have the learn module. So you have to complete all DP-700 Microsoft Fabric learn module. Watch expert-led DP-700 learn together series, which we are doing right now. So this is the same series which you can do. It has already been done twice. So you can watch all the videos. It's done once in morning, once in evening. So you can go ahead and watch whichever video you would like. And every time you watch, every expert has a different perspective. So you will learn more. Other than that, Microsoft Fabric documentation is really, really good. My advice would be always look at that documentation. There is a very well organized documentation. When you go and ask what is Microsoft Fabric, and from there you can drill down. In fact, many MVPs like me and David has shared a lot of blogs around that. We have series around that where you can go ahead and take the full advantage of all those features which are came till now. So some of us has started really early, so you will see those older UIs where we have captured all those things, and then slowly we have all these latest things and latest feature which keep on coming. And Microsoft Fabric is really dynamic. You have a lot of new features which keep on coming in. So just keep eye, but keep on working on the basics of KQL, SQL, and DAX. So that will help you. So always remember that you need to know each and every functionality and basics of all the technologies. That will help you answer all the questions. So, and then you can watch this complete series. So if you click on the channel link, from there you will be able to get the entire series in the playlist. Now let's get some tips from David.
Yeah, look, make sure that you study for the exam. This is as any other exam that you have done before, right? It's not the same having the experience in the knowledge than preparing for the exam. So make sure you have a look at the resources that Amit mentioned. Have a look at there is even a path, a learning path that you can follow to become a good data engineer with Microsoft Fabric. But I don't know about you, Amit, but in my case, I like the learning path and so on, but I like to go and test the services, create pipelines, making them fail, trying to do the same with the notebook, the data flows, trying to understand how to optimize resources. If you put your hat of a data engineer, independently of it's Microsoft Fabric or not, if you put the hat that I'm a data engineer, all the questions, they will come naturally, go and give it a go. My best recommendation, I think, that I can give you today for the exam is practice, practice, practice. So One of the this is new for me. Okay, when I've done the exam a few months back as well. So the Microsoft Learn portal is available to you. So that means that you'll be able actually to search for questions in the exam. So that means that you'll have the portal with a specific question, and then you'll be able to open the Microsoft Learn portal. You will open that website from the application. You can see it here side by side. On the left side, you have the application. On the right side, you have the Microsoft Learn site. So now, while the Microsoft Learn portal is available to you, it's not that you're going to have a lot of time to search for each question. Okay. So make sure that you understand how the information is organized in Microsoft Learn. So that's going to allow you to, not every question, but if you are thinking about something, a specific question about a specific view to monitor performance, understanding the Microsoft Learn portal is going to allow you to easily find a section without you having to go, through a maze run trying to understand where that information is. So yeah, go and learn about Microsoft Learn, how the information is structured, how to easily navigate the different sections. And more important, remember, this is available to you, but we don't recommend it to use it for every question. Some questions that maybe you are deciding between A and B, go and give it a go.
Yeah, and I agree to David when he talks about that, go ahead and experiment. I'll tell you, some of these exams could be really detailed oriented, and unless you practice it, and for that you need to have either a Microsoft Fabric capacity or a trial capacity. I think trials are now getting limited, but still, look at your tenant. If you have a trial capacity available, in case you don't have one purchased one in your organization, please go ahead and start that and start using that to practice it a lot. See, you will remember most of the things when you practice it a lot, like when we create data flow gen 2 data pipelines, or when we try to create warehouses or lake houses. Some of those things will work, some of those things doesn't work, and that is where we go ahead and explore all the options, and we will be able to know more. Now, what happens here is some of these things are really, really detailed, and because it's an intermediate level exam, you might get little difficult question than compared to what you were getting in DP-600. That's what the expectation is. Now, here in that case, it means that you have done a lot of practice, and that's where I think David is rightly pointed out: practice, practice, and practice. So, more and more practice you do on Microsoft Fabric, that is going to help you out. And if you have some questions, please ask in the chat window. If you're not aware how to start the trial, moderators will help you out by giving them the link how to start that exam, and we will maybe able to answer the same question little later. So go ahead, try it out, and then you will definitely be able to crack this exam very easily if you have practiced it. My advice would be pay attention to every detail what you are seeing on the screens of Microsoft Fabric and every technology. The next thing which we would like to talk about is exam format and scoring. So what is going to be the exam format and how it's going to be scored. So first of all, we have to understand the basics of the exam. So we will have typically 60 questions, and it is not that everything is of the same marks. There could be questions which is having 1 point, there could be questions which is having more than 1 point. Answer all questions because there are no penalty marks, so you will not get negative marking, so you can pretty much answer everything which you know. And if you are not sure that this is the answer, mark item for review so that later on you can come in and look at that. For time, you have 180 minutes, 150 minutes to answer the questions, and 30 minutes for miscellaneous. So usually I think 180 minutes are usually sufficient. But I would like to understand from David. David, do you think 180 minutes are sufficient for this kind of exam?
They're just enough. So I'll give you an example. So many times, I'll put it with all the exams that I ever done with Microsoft, I usually maximum I have 10 minutes left or something like that. And I use that time, to review some of the questions that I'm not so sure about. With DP-700, I ran into the last minute. I used every single second available to reach out the last question.
So I think with that you can understand the level of DP-700. What David has said, that it's going till last minute with the expert like David. So you can think about that this exam is going to take a lot of time when you're you know going through that exam. So I think preparation is the key for that. We will have multiple choice questions, means there could be more than one choices. So like build a list, hot area, active screen, drag and drop, and performance based question. And then definitely there would be a case study, a long case study which you have to go through, and based on that there would be questions based on that case study. So the, so you have to read that case study very carefully, because there will be certain stats which are there, and based on that stats, like they might talk about the what is used, what is the business, what are the business problem, and all those things might be there in the case study. So read that case study carefully and try to answer the questions which are after the case study. So let's understand from David how the exam is scored.
Yeah, look, they are scored basically from 0 to 1000, and you have to achieve 700 in the score to pass. As you mentioned, Amit, so not every question has the same uh, number of points. Some questions might be 1 point, while other more difficult questions might be more than 1 point. So some questions they'll be more important than other ones. Now, 700 is good because this you don't get the penalty. So if you're not sure about the question, just mark your best guess. Choose the option that you think you have an idea that it could be, you know, and you're not going to get a penalty for marking that question. Don't leave any question unanswered. That's the best one. Okay, so make sure that you mark the question. If you're not so sure, you can put it for being reviewed later. But keep going. Uh, I want to show you. I want to share with you a few tips and tricks in the last section of the presentation. But yes, 700 is more than achievable. If you, for any reason, you didn't pass the exam, you get 600 or 500 score. At least you got a lot of experience on the platform, the type of questions. And my suggestion will be go and book the exam, in the next week or 2 weeks after. So what to expect on the exam day? So here you have a nice workflow that tells you, what are the different next steps that you go through for doing the exam. Now, I want to share a few things with you that they might not be here. So wherever you are doing the exam, so you're only allowed to have one monitor. And if you are using a laptop, you can have that monitor connected to a laptop, but the laptop lid, it has to be closed. Your desktop, it has to be clean. You're going to be taking pictures of the desktop. You're going to be taking pictures on the left, on the right, on the back, the front, and sometimes even above you on the environment where you're taking the exam. Make sure that you have really good internet connection. There was one time that I did the exam in a public Wi-Fi, and that didn't go well. I lost the connectivity for 10 minutes. I was able to rejoin. You can rejoin the platform, but you are wasting a lot of time at the same time. So let's quickly go through this. So from where you start, the proctor is going to verify your identity. So that means that you have to have an ID with a picture of you on it. It could be a driver license, it could be a passport. The proctor is going to unlock the exam. Then you'll see the screen with the exam name. You have to go through some initial slides for NDA and so on. Then you're going to complete the survey for the skills. So they're going to ask you what the level of proficiency of you on different skills, and then you're going to take the exam. I always say, look, don't spend a lot of time, trying to complete the skills survey perfectly. Just try to go through that section really fast, so you can focus on the exam. Now, the time of the exam doesn't start until you get to that section that says take the exam. That's when your time starts ticking, and it's going to finish once that you review any questions that you want to revisit. So you can see in the middle on the left, so there are two boxes. Take the exam, review the questions. So those are going to be used in the 150 minutes of the exam. Then with exams, when you finish submitting the results, you will get the score immediately. So that's a really good news. Sometimes, they will tell you they will send the scores and so on, but in most cases, if the exam is already publicly available, you will get the results of immediately, and then you'll get to, if you pass, you'll get to celebrate, share that in the social networks. If you don't pass, hell, look, keep studying another couple of weeks and rebook the exam, and you'll pass.
Yeah, and especially I think you need to be really careful about your identity, verification of identity. And I've seen a lot of rejections which happen specifically in India because of not having the original ID. So you need to have your original ID. Then photographs should be latest. So make sure that you don't have a photograph which is 6 7 year old or not matching with you. There are places where the ID is getting rejected because of that. So you need to have the identity, original identity. Because your, in case of India, it is usually Aadhaar or PAN card or passport, and then you need to have one of those which are latest. So David, in case of your case, what are the typical identities which work here, and any tips you want to give on specifically related to identity, so that we don't get rejected at very first stage?
Yeah, look, have two of them. If you have a driver license or you have a passport or any other sort of ID within your country, try to have two of them just in case something goes wrong with one of them when you're taking the picture. What happens to me many times when I'm taking the picture of the ID, because most of them they have a layer of plastic. Sometimes the light, there's a reflection of the light, and it's really difficult to capture actually the details. Take your time. Ideally, have two forms of identification in case you run into trouble with one of them. And look, so then what I usually do, so once I know if my driver license works perfectly for the next exam, I'm going to be using the same one. I stick to what it works, essentially.
Yeah, so I think that's a great idea. If there is some ID which is always working for you, have that ID, but be careful. I think uh, whatever ID you are doing, that's the one thing. Make sure your camera is working pretty good condition. Internet connection, as already David has pointed out, should be really good, because if break, you might know all the answers, but if the internet connectivity breaks in between, you might lose opportunity to pass the exam for which you know everything. So these are some really important tips which we have heard from David. So make sure that you adhere to that, and you get your certification, and we get an opportunity to celebrate it, celebrating DP-700. So now we will go ahead and talk about some tips and tricks for exam day. Okay, so what we can do here is basically is download the skill outline and practice the skill needed. So we have the skill outline you can download. Make sure that you complete the MS learning path. Review product documentation on Microsoft blog. So we have this uh, documentation. So if you search for Microsoft Fabric documentation, or what is Microsoft Fabric, you should land into the base documentation of Microsoft Fabric. From there, you have linked to each and everything. What is Microsoft Fabric? What is Lakehouse? What is Warehouse? What is Power BI? What is real-time analytics? What is data engineering? All these things you will look. My advice would be specifically go ahead and look at all the documentation. There is a good amount of documentation on that. You go step by step and look at all of them. Ask other how they perform the task. In case you look and you perform some task, you're not able to do it, you go ahead and ask others how they have done it. Schedule the exam as a forcing function. So you schedule it on time. Once you schedule it, you have a timeline in mind. So you can actually go ahead and look at the timeline, that within this timeline I need to prepare. And you also need to schedule a time for study. Daily you have to test, study, spend some time. And I think the best study is to doing it on Microsoft Fabric. And again, as I said, in case you need some data sets, a lot of data sets are available In fact, from Microsoft side, they are also available. And most of these things will have a sample data. So it is not that you don't have a data. If you go to, I think, warehouse, you go to SQL DB, you go to real-time analytics, we already have a sample data for you. So there is no lacking of sample data for practicing. Other than that, you can search for Microsoft Power BI data sets or Microsoft Fabric data sets. You should be also able to get few more data sets to practice with. Then take a practice test. So when you go to this DP-700 page, you will get link for practice test. Best way is to practice and try to understand if you answered a question wrong, why it is wrong. Because unless you understand that what you have answered, why it is wrong, and what is the reason for the other answers to come, then we may able to commit the same mistake when we give the exam. So to avoid such mistakes, it's always whenever we answered a question, whether it's we answered it correctly or incorrectly, understand the reason in the practice exam why that particular answer is correct. And based on that, if we do our preparation, we will be able to answer most of the question with ease in the main exam. So spend a lot of time on practicing Microsoft Fabric and practice test other than completing the learn module and looking at the documentation. Now
Before
we have
before we move we move on, I mean, I wanted to ask, like there is a question in the chat actually. Do you, when you go through the Microsoft exams, independently of the DP-700, do you feel the questions are more theoretical, or more practical questions?
David is the right person to answer this because I'm the one who still need to take it.
But any Microsoft, if you've done Power BI or anyone, I find that they are always, the way that the questions are phrased, they are more practical always. Say,
Yes.
okay, you have this problem, and you have to monitor performance. Do you use view A, view B, or view C, or something like that?
Yes, practical is always important because I have given DP-600, so I know their questions are practical. And if they are theoretical, be careful that because it's going to be really detailed question. There are features which are lying at some place, and we typically may ignore it, and there could be a question around that. So if it's theoretical, it's really going to be tricky.
Yeah, I think I find like I'll tell you, in DP-700, most of the questions they are practical. I don't remember of many theoretical, so that means that the majority is definitely practical on how to execute something, how to order the different steps for provisioning a pipeline, how to monitor a performance issue, and so on. And we do have another question. Is like this one is related to something that you mentioned. It's about any tips on how to approach the case study. And I'll tell you something. This is how I do it, okay? And this is because it works for me. So find something that works for you. But this is how I approach the case studies. I don't read them. I go straight to the question. The case study, reading it and understanding it is going to take you 10 minutes. My recommendation is like, go to the questions, and based on that question, then you go back to the case study and try to find the answer for that question. So by follow that approach works quite well for me. I know some people prefer, to go and read the case study, understand all the information. But for me, I just go to the question. Based on the question, I go back to the case study and I try to find the answer.
Yeah, I think that's typically also how it works for me. I definitely look one or two lines, just the introduction one, and then I go to the questions, read carefully what is being asked to the question, and then go to the case study and read it and thoroughly make sure that what I'm answering is what has been matching with what has been said above in the case study. But yes, case study is going to take a little more time than compared to other questions because there are questions answer which is lying within the case study and application of Microsoft Fabric or related technology in the Microsoft Fabric on that case study. So it's going to be a little tricky, but I think it's usually easier if you have started the way David had said, and mostly there are chances that most of the question you may be answered correctly if you are little you have find out that way how to deal with case study. And I think practice exam might have some case studies, so I think my advice would be go ahead and look at those practice exam case study and find out your own that mechanism which works for you, and it could be a little different from what it is for me or David, but usually we will be able to figure out, okay, this is where it works best for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were looking for a lot of questions from your side, because we have time today for answer the questions. And feel free to ask the question anywhere from Microsoft Fabric and DP-700 exam. As far as we are able to answer, we'll try to accommodate those questions. Moderators will be able to answer. We will be able to take it up. But just to let you know about this series, how it went till so far is, we started on 5th Feb, followed by a session on 6th Feb, 12th and 13th, 19th, 20th, and this is the last session, prepare for exam day, which we are doing today. And with this series will wrap up, but all these recordings are available on Microsoft Reactor, and you will be able to get. And some of you who are looking on the YouTube, just click on the icon which is there for the channel, and you should be able to get this complete series. You will also be able to get it in the playlist. And again, we will talk about the event Microsoft Fabric Community Conference. And some of you who have joined us a little late, we discussed in the starting, it's a great event. In case some of you are joining, I am planning to join that, so come and meet me. Last time there was an app where we can search people and connect with them, and hopefully there will be some app, that kind of app this time also, where we will be able to connect with each other, and then we'll be able to meet during the breakfast, lunch, or the break timings. There are a lot of sessions which are going to be there, and you need to pick and choose which you wanted to attend. And some of those could be deep technical also. So be ready for to get the next step on Microsoft Fabric at Microsoft Fabric Community Conference. If you are looking for a discount code, yes, it has been given in front of you in the screen, and you should be able to get it. And I think this challenge, I think that is going to give you a ticket to Microsoft Fabric, completely free Power BI database challenge. The World Championship is ongoing, and this can give you one free ticket, and I think one for each week. David can add to that, which is going to be for Microsoft Fabric Community Conference happening from 31st March to 2nd April. You can get the complete free pass to the conference. For that, what you have to do is you have to design some beautiful Power BI reports and post it. So for that, you can take this link, aka.ms/gc/pbi champ. Same would be available in the chat also. And David, once again, there are certain questions which we'll take it up, and you can add to anything you want to add for the Power BI database challenge.
Yeah, look, this comes back to what you asked before. If you find difficult designing reports, go and have a look at this. There is a lot of reports already published by the community, and I'm sure you can get some ideas that they will apply to the business case within your organization.
Okay, I think one of the question which came here, and I think David, you did discuss about that question some time back. How long does it take someone who has not answered any exam of Microsoft to crack this exam?
That's a good question, actually. Look, I will say the best and safest answer will be it depends. But look, understanding so I was split it. Look, let's split it into two different items: knowledge and experience, and then understanding the other one will be understanding how the platform works. It's really important for you to feel comfortable with the platform. That's why Amit mentioned you can go actually and have a look at the platform. Take the test exam, understand how the format of the platform is. You have a single choice, you have multiple choice, you will have drag and drop, you will have drop downs, you will have case studies, you will have a section actually that they will ask the same question, and they will give you a different answer, and it's a true or false question. So I'm going to take the risk. If it's your first, when I first did my first Microsoft exam ever, I prepared 1 month for it. Okay, I prepared 1 month. part time, let's say 2 hours a day during business days only. That's how long it took me. But it depends on you, And I always say, when people come and ask me, you know, oh, when should I take the exam? I always tell them, look, take it next week, give it a go. If you don't pass, I know you have to pay additional fees, and that's not easy, but that will pay off. Go sit for the exam next week, get a sense of the questions, the platform, and if you don't pass, rebook that exam 2 weeks after. you know all the investment, I know, the financial investment that you have to do for the exam, if your company is not paying for it, is going to pay off. So if you have to take the same exam 4 times in 4 weeks to pass it, it's going to pay off.
Yeah, usually I think 1 to 2 months of preparation should be there. I mean, and we have an assumption that you are well versed with Microsoft Fabric, then that 1 month of preparation should be doing. Because I remember last time when it happened, me and my team members do have prepared for couple of months before we appeared for the exam, and it's really important that you go ahead and practice Microsoft Fabric, and once you start getting comfortable with all the terminology, name, how the flow works, you are able to write down those SQL queries or DEX queries or KQL queries, simple KQL queries. Like there are so you have to understand there is a SQL, there is a KQL, then there is a DEX, and then there is a Power Query portion to it. So all little bit, and there could be same operation which can be done across. And my best way to learn all those things, I typically what I do is let's say I take one file and I try to break it into a star scheme or something, and I look for all the commands which I'm going to run it, or all the queries which I'm going to run on that file, and then I go ahead and practice it on Power Query. Then I do it on the PySpark. Then I go ahead and do it on the SQL, and then I try to do it on, let's say, KQL. Means KQL, we may not do the similar kind of stuff, but let's say if I'm running a SQL for something, I may also like to see if I can, how can I run the KQL for that. So in that manner, what happens is the technology which I'm more familiar with, I try to relate it with that first of all to start with. Please remember, these technologies are not same. While you can have an answer in KQL getting very similar to SQL, but there could be a better way there. So always practice, practice, and practice, as already David has suggested. So we have more questions coming in. So I'll take one more there. The question for David is: are you going to enter the Power BI Data Viz World Championship?
Am I? The answer will be no. Customers that keep me already too busy for doing to being part of that Power BI biz. And look, to be honest as well, I'm afraid. I'm afraid of failure. I'm afraid of. I was afraid of being part of that championship, but I should have give it a go. And I'm seeing already, the reports that are being published by the community that are great. A lot of great ideas, that you can leverage for your different business reports. Okay, I mean, we have another question as well.
Yes.
During the exam, if there is a problem with the session and is restarted by the proctor, does that deduct from your total exam time?
I'm really doubtful about that, but in case it get restarted by Proctor, it should not get, the time should not get deducted. But I never had an experience for that, so I think I'm not 100% sure on that. But my ideal guess is it should not get deducted.
Yeah, I had that experience twice, and the last one actually was in the like 6 months ago. They didn't take out any time from my 150 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I think for database, I think I was also asking the same question to David sometime back. Like people like me who's little not great at visualizations, so I may also skip that because I don't think I'm really great at visualization. But I'll try to learn from what has been submitted, because I've seen some of them are really amazing. I'm really amazed the thinking process which has been put to showcase that story. And even if you're not participating, my advice would be go ahead and look at how people think about the business and how they put across that every single visual has a thought process, and that is really amazing. So I think even if you are not participating, not submitting, just go ahead and look at it. But my advice would be, please go ahead and try it out, give it a shot. In case you're able to spend some time, it's a great opportunity to showcase how can you approach this. Now, while you can continue to ask the questions again, DP700, we have 50% discount vouchers still available, and aka.ms/qc/DP700. Go and complete the challenge to get that.
I think we're getting to the top of the hour. Let's see if we have any other questions.
Okay, we do have, seems like, when Microsoft certifies someone, what does it mean to hiring manager? What is Microsoft certifying?
Right. I'll give it a go. I don't know if I understand the question, but the certifications there are granted to individuals, right? So if I'm a certified Microsoft Fabric data engineer, so when I leave my company and I join another organization, that certification has been assigned to me. Is for me as an individual. On the other hand, I know if you are working in a consulting business, sometimes for specific businesses, if they want to get a Microsoft accreditation from a partner point of view, they have to have a specific number of certified Microsoft professionals within the business. Okay, that'll be from a business point of view. And if you're not a consulting business seeking to be a Microsoft partner, having employees who are certified, it gives you some sort of a peace of mind, right, Amit? Because you know that your employees are following good practices, guidelines. I don't know if you find that in your case.
Yeah, I think I just wanted to add what David had said. So one is individual perspective. So first of all, you should do it with your own email ID, not your company's email ID, even if you are doing for your company. Because on partner portal, partner.microsoft.com, you can attach your personal ID with your current employer so that they can get benefited. Yes, some of these certifications do count for your partners for in their skilling matrices, for which they need to attain the solution partner or some other level in the Microsoft world. So definitely, like, we are a data and AI partner, we do need certifications, and we do encourage people to do certification. And once they do with their personal ID, they do attach it on the Microsoft partner portal, and that is how we get that skilling accreditation or skilling credits as a partner. That's one part. Second is, as a hiring manager, when you have a certification on your resume, it becomes easier for us to pick up your resume, because we know you have an expertise, you have passed this level of exam, you have done something great to do that. So that becomes easier when you are trying for a new job, and within the same job, and having Microsoft Fabric, I'm telling you, is a big deal, because it's complete data engineering which is there. It's just not the visualization part, it's just not the ETL part, it's just not the collection part. It is the complete end-to-end cycle, which include data science, which include real-time analytics, which include data transformation and visualization. So it's a great thing to have in case you have that certificate. So my advice would be, having this certificate on DP700 will definitely make sure that your resumes are getting picked up faster than anyone else who is not having these kind of exams, specifically if you are looking for data engineering job or Microsoft Fabric job, which could be really high in this year, which is 2025. David, anything else you want to add here?
Look, I only can say, no in relation to that, but thank you to Vahid and Martin for being our moderators today, and Michelle for looking after us in StreamYard for the live stream. I had a lot of fun with you, Amit, giving this presentation. And if anybody wants to connect with us, go and search for us in the social networks. So thank you, Amit. It's been amazing. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, David. Thanks, everyone who has joined this today's conference. It is really amazing to see all of you here, and it is really pleasure to speak along with David. It has been a long dream come true.
Thank you. Bye.